So a bill backed by powerful utility companies in Florida would slash the financial benefits for people using rooftop solar, which critics say could basically end the solar industry in Florida overnight. Currently, homes with solar are reimbursed for the energy they send back into the grid at a similar rate that they pay for energy received from utilities. This bill would cut that rate by 75% and set a minimum monthly payment amount. Florida Power and Light says that currently solar using customers are costing non-solar customers about 50 cents a month and that this amount could grow. The introducer of this legislation, Jennifer Bradley, has received numerous massive campaign contributions from Florida Power and Light, a fact that she has not publicly acknowledged or addressed.
So we're assuming that this is
Here's the thing about
power trying to squash solar power.
Here's the thing about this story. I looked at it from a bunch of different outlets. They were all trying real hard, even CNN, which is like as milquetoast as news comes. They were trying real hard to dance around the fact that this is just like blatant corruption. Like there is no one really who is knowledgeable on this issue who thinks that the solar power companies have like a not the solar power companies, but the utilities think that they have a point here. You know,
well, at least solar power is becoming so financially dangerous that people want to fight it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. It's so funny to me that even the news covered stories were like, yeah, so this would have untold negative consequences and would benefit no one. But they want it anyway. It's like, God, how did we get here?
Well, that's really the question that's coming to mind for me. Like you said, even CNN, milquetoast CNN, who danced around the topic.
Right.
Why? Why dance around the topic of obvious?
Well, that's what I say. I just why not just say, yeah, this state senator's corrupt. These companies want more money and they want to, make solar not financially viable for this very dubious idea that solar customers are costing non-solar customers money, which is like they just report on it. Like they just say, this is what they say, and this is what they say. It's like, okay, but what is that true? Is it accurate? It sounds like no,
you gotta
not
ask
really.
yourself, in this world of Fox News's and CNN's, obviously.
Sure.
Do I even know what news is anymore? So
Right.
them presenting the facts to me and me coming up with my own opinion, hey, this is corrupt. Maybe that is the news. Maybe that's the news. Maybe that's what we should be reading. Oh God. Is that the news? Is that what I should be reading? What's being left out here that should be reported that?
No, I mean, it's pretty much accurate. I just wish they were more blatant about spelling it out for the viewer that, hey, this is only a thing we're talking about because the utility companies are already rich and they don't like solar messing up their margins.
Yeah.
And this bill is probably going to pass. That's the depressing thing. It's like, no one wants it. People don't want it. It's not like there's some big grassroots movement. We hate solar. Conservatives like solar. Democrats like solar. Everyone likes solar. It's not like when you use solar, every time someone installs solar panels on the roof, someone becomes gay, right? It's right. Not like there's really some part in the culture wars where like these people think solar is good and these people think solar is evil. Like at most people are ambivalent to solar. This is purely just manufactured by the companies.
Yeah, and I think we all agree with the science that okay, that's a weird statement, but we'll go with it. That our planet is basically constantly bathed in enough energy to power our entire civilization multiple times over.
Yeah.
And we are just having a hard time extracting it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there are issues with solar in terms of like energy storage, basically. That's the reason why everything isn't.
Yeah, I'm just saying we're all on board, aren't we? Energy
yeah.
independence. I mean, that is energy independence.
And the thing about Florida, you might not know, there's a lot of sun.
Yeah, that's true.
I get the feeling maybe you did know that. This is news
I
to me. I
assumed.
learned
I
this
mean,
looking up the article.
it is the sunshine state, is it not?
Yes, it is.
So it seems like that would be the place.
No, there's a fair amount of sun in Florida. So,
this is another example of these political sort of talking points that people get behind. It's like, I don't know. I'm just constantly amazed at how blatant, for one, how blatant marketing can be. But for two, how blatant supposedly secret manipulations are. Right. It's like, so you see like the government or a politician or a big corporation say, well, we're doing this now. And, I automatically go, well, why are you doing that? What are you covering up? And like, it's blatantly obvious, but nobody seems to be looking at it or care. Nobody cares. I'm not sure if it's looking or caring or both.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were talking a few weeks ago about like just partisanship in the country and stuff. And I think a lot of the partisanship is just like genuine differences between individual people. But there's stuff like this that is just like a handful of guys in a boardroom wanted it, and now it's going to pass, And it's just like, and people talk about that on the left and the right, all the crazy Illuminati conspiracies, which I, think there's nothing to them, but also like you see things like this. And if you say to me, special interests are controlling our country and, small groups of very rich people have more power than, giant swaths of voters, I'm like, yeah, that's true. If you say to me, they're also lizard people, I say, well, no, that's not real. And that's based on like, and that's like based on anti-Semitic tropes and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, there totally are these guys who just buy legislation because they're so rich.
They're reptilian in the adjective sense, but
right. In the sense of being cold-blooded, yes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so it's always weird to me how Republicans back this. Like, yeah. I understand the idea of republicanism, the free market and stuff like that. I understand it to the point where, I believe a lot of it. I just can't get behind some other Republican belief systems because I'm just all like, that's horrible. So I got to hang out with these people because they're nice. I like nice people. I want, but
yeah, sure. And it's like most of the Republicans I know,
they're not
horrible. Like people are like, they're down with solar. They're down with electric,
Well, this is my example is, are they aware that if I wanted to start a couch company, I could buy all the wood, I could buy all the fabrics, I could get the stuff, I could see, hey, this is what needs to happen for it, and I could build couches. I could not sell them nationwide. I could not get them into big stores and get them out there without paying heavy dues to Big Couch, to Big Furniture. There's literally Big in front of almost every industry in this country. So, like, let's say you're a farmhand, you're a conservative farmhand, less government, can't do this. Just got myself inherited, couple hundred cows from my family. I cannot start a milk company.
Right.
Big Milk will squash me. You want to do it with radishes? Big Radish will squash you. It's just the way it is. You're going to be selling radishes to Big Radish or nobody else. And that seems so contradictory to this less government belief system.
Well, I mean, back when I lived in Reading, I remember having a conversation with a small business owner guy, and he was basically talking about like big tech companies, and he was saying, yeah, it's gotten out of hand. They need to be broken up. Very laissez-faire, like libertarian guy. I think Republican people, like voters, are on a whole host of issues super far to the left of the guys they vote into office, like something like half of Republicans want universal health care. And yet and yet you would not think that from like what Republican politicians do in office, which is mostly try to squash universal health care. Like I feel for people who vote Republican because like their politicians are very out of touch. And to be fair, it's also true of Democrats. I would say Democratic politicians are well to the right of where most of the party is. So on a lot of issues.
All right.
You know?
Well,
and it's
maybe we can make that the one issue that people pay attention to. All right. What do you got?
We're starting the Radio Wasteland party.
Can you point to your ears?